Hello there, Musto0063, back to finish off Mega Man 2. So that's all A Robot Masters defeated, and Dr. Wily clearly hasn't learned his lesson, so let's go kick his ass again. Cue the customary piercing Wily saucer music, and the shaky eyebrows. And this time we see Dr. Wily actually running away into a fortress. We didn't get to see that in the original. So this is Wily 1, and the first thing we're greeted with these pippies. Probably maybe the second least enemy I wanted to see right at the start of the stage, behind perhaps sniper armour. But yeah, take out the eggs or you're going to be in trouble. The first section before you reach the wall, they just continually kind of come in phases, so yeah, just take them out as best you can. So then we come up against a little wall here, so I use item 3 to get up it, and I now use item 2 to cheat this section really, but as I kind of said at the end of my last video, for fortress stages, yeah, I'm afraid my perfect run rules and everything else go completely out the window, so weapon energy use, item use, they're completely fair game as far as I'm concerned. And having used up quite a bit of weapon energy, or certainly item number 2 there, I like that weapon energy, and I frankly couldn't be bothered going over to the topmost ladder, turning around and killing this thing with the Mega Buster, so I just decided to take the thing out there and then with Metal Blade. Works rather well. But for this second one now on the screen, I'm happy enough to take it out from a distance. I would have had to have pretty much done it anyway, so I'm happy to switch back to the Mega Buster and take out Sniper Joe in the customary way. Now, this is me being rather clumsy. I always get slightly panicked on this section, and, well, yeah, wonderful. I'm always slightly nervous that when I get up on the ladder, I won't be quick enough to move to the left and then jump over the little spring enemy there before it hits me. So I jumped far too early, tried to clear it, and landed right on the damn thing. Brilliant. Now, this section with the little 1 platforms, it is probably possible to do it in just 3, but I've always found that really troublesome. So what I tend to do is kind of stay on the ladder right at the bottom of the screen, shoot 1, and then kind of wait for it almost to disappear before shooting the next set of platforms to make it up, because you can only have 3 on screen at one time. It takes a little bit of practice, but yeah, it's not too bad. And now we come to the bit that I remember absolutely scared the crap out of me first time I ever played the game: the sudden appearance of Mecha Dragon. And before we actually get to the boss fight, we have to traverse these little platforms. Now, this boss fight, well, I say unfortunately from the commentary point of view, is going to go by really fast. In fact, that is it. So, basically, he shoots waves of fire at you. The best thing to do is try and lure the fire shots as best you can, by either jumping up from the middle platform or positioning yourself on the top platform and then jumping down. If you get hit, in all likelihood, you're probably going to get knocked into the oblivion anyway. Although if you happen to be kind of standing toward the left-hand edge of the top platform, you might just get knocked down onto the middle platform. But yeah, for most part, actually, if you get hit, you're gonna die anyway. So, oh well, we're already into stage 2. And actually, funny enough, if I hadn't got hit to that stupid spring enemy, I'd have no damage that first run. First stage, nowhere near perfect run, obviously, because I used weapon 2 and metal blade. Item 2 and metal blade. But yeah, without that little hit, I'd have no damaged it, so that was quite irritating. Here, of course, I'm forced to use item 2 because I've got a whacking great big pit that I've got absolutely no chance whatsoever of managing to clear. And I was just about quick enough, having kind of switched through all my weapons and refilled item 3 and whatnot, so that I just about managed to rocket away and avoid the prop top, which jumped after me and just nearly got me, but not quite. There were 2 ladders there that you can grab at the end of that kind of rocket section. Ideally, you want to wait for the second one. The first one you have to actually waste some crash bombers crashing through some of the gates, and also by going up the second ladder, you get extra life and some weapon energy, and if you want to as well, another extra life and an energy tank hidden behind crash walls. So here we have a little mole section, and I haven't got much to say about it other than the fact that unfortunately I'm going to spend quite a bit of time here, because I'm on a perfect run at this point in time, buggering about, taking my time shooting through this. So while I'm doing that, maybe now is a good time to address the issue of music in this stage. which, don't get me wrong, I really do like, but it's nowhere near my favourite, and in my opinion, it's just ridiculously overused. I'm probably half thinking back to, you know, usage in I Want to Be games more, perhaps more so than anything else. But yeah, this music just seems to be the absolute customary Mega Man music, and frankly, I think there are better tunes out there. Again, not that I don't like it, but yeah, massively overused, and probably slightly overrated in my honest opinion. So I eventually make it through, and again we're forced to use a little item here, so I've used item 3 to get up here. We now have these little pressers that we lost or in Metal Man stage, and I don't know why I slipped there. I usually don't have too much problems with this section, but of course, on this playthrough I managed to get hit not once, but twice to those pressers. Fantastic. And of course in doing so, they took off an absolute huge chunk of my energy, so I even felt compelled to go and get this health energy to somewhat refill myself, so that's how bad that went. And now we come to the boss of stage 2, which is the Pico Master, which is effectively just a bunch of blocks that come out of the wall and kind of home in on you. And it's all really, without getting got, it's all about really kind of knowing where you need to stand. If I hadn't got to either of those two pressers, I'd have used a Mega Buster for this, since I would have been in line for a perfect run. As I got, then I'm going to switch to its weakness, or one of its weakness, and I'm sure there are other ones you could use. Metal Blade, I know not technically a weakness, but it's actually quite useful on this thing because you can shoot it up in the air and take out the high rated ones. I've always just used the Bubble Lead to take out this thing, so that's what I'm using here. There's probably not much to say about it, to be honest. It's just a case of somewhat knowing where they're going to come out, actually, particularly the ones from the floor. Obviously the ones that come up directly below you, you don't want to be standing under them when that happens, or you're going to take a hit. So if you know the pattern and know where they're going to come out, it's not too bad, and one hit with a Bubble Lead takes them out. Again, sorry for this slight pause there. As similar with Mega Man 1, I didn't want the recording of the game to go on too long at each one time, so I paused there and cut a break while I was thinking about piecing this all together. So yeah, this is stage 3. It's very short. We have this little underwater section here with giant piranha fish, which are killable, but frankly probably not worth bothering with. If you kind of, I'm sure you can actually make the jump anyway without trying to bait them out and then go back, but I've always felt it was somewhat beneficial to you know, try and bait them out, and then while they're in the process of returning down, then make the jump. But yeah, I'm sure you can do it otherwise. A spike little section there to weave through. It's not terribly too bad, provided you obviously know what's coming. As I say, this stage is very short. And pretty much at the end of it here. The last little section is these crazy cannons, and if you kind of know the timings and what you need to do here, then you can get through no problem. That really is our stage, and we've probably only been going less than a minute. That brings us to boss of stage 3. And I said lots of times before in my Mega Man 1 playthrough that Dr. Wily loves Gutsman. So this is Guts Dozer. He's turned something to do with Gutsman into a huge bulldozer type enemy, and he's very easy, as you just saw. If you actually stand on top of his tracks and just shoot him in the face, then all he'll do is shoot pellet shots at you. If you're not standing on there, then he'll shoot mets at you, which kind of bounce along the floor, which can be very difficult and off-putting to dodge. But yeah, if you stand on him, then pellet shots are the only thing he does, and they're pretty easy to dodge. Just make sure you don't kind of land on his fist as you kind of, well, yeah, as you're kind of landing. And in case you hadn't quite noticed, that was indeed a perfect run. So yay, I perfect runned, accidentally of course, a Wily stage. Brilliant. Probably the easiest and shortest one of the lot, but what are you going to do? So we're into stage 4. And I took the opportunity right at the beginning to refill a couple of item weapons here, because I've got a feeling that I'm going to use them coming up. What I did there was kind of stand right on top of the ladder and inch forward while shooting, just to kind of make sure that I was going to take out that net and not have it shoot at me. If it shot at me, then I'm going to take a hit. I'm not certainly expecting to do this stage without taking any hits, but you know, why not try for the no damage, perfect run, whatever, where possible. I still employ that during Wily stages, I just never expect to do them. Now there are kind of lots of gaps here in the floor everywhere. I know where they call them all are here, and I'm pretty much 99% sure that the one here, the gap in this little area over the spikes, is kind of like in the last 2-3 sections of the floor pattern there. But I wasn't going to take the risk during the Let's Play of making a complete twit of myself, so yeah, I cheated and used item 2 to skip the thing. So I'm pretty sure I know where the gap is there, but yeah, I don't want to make myself look like an idiot. Now, the track platforms were not really any problem whatsoever in Crashman stage, and they're back. They make a reappearance here, and 3 of the 4 are not probably too bad. That one, they're starting to look kind of more convoluted, or certainly more so than they were in Crashman stage, but they're not too bad. The first one still has those kind of telly enemies which you can take out with not too much trouble with the Mega Buster. This one, there's no tellies or anything to worry about. It's just trying to getting through and watching how the platform's going to move before setting off and making all your jumps and everything. Now this one can be a pain, and yeah, I decided I really couldn't be bothered messing around with the Mega Buster. It can be done, but since the metal blade shoots down and diagonal and whatnot, I thought, well, you know, I'll just take these things out with the metal blade. The metal blade is insanely useful here because it does shoot in every direction. Its weapon usage is minimal. I think you can get 4 shots per 1 bar of energy. So it's a brilliant weapon, and yeah, I use it quite a lot to my advantage here. The final platform is not too bad, and whether or not you can do that without using item 2 is irrelevant really. I just thought, again, for safety purposes, I'll use item 2 and make sure I don't just jump into a spike. I didn't really want to see sniper armour, I must admit. The first one here gives you enough room. The second one here, well, the Sniper Joe anyway, is absolutely impossible to get past unless you put on a charged heat shot, but I quite frankly couldn't be bothered, so I just thought I'd take the hit. The second sniper armour there comes at you a bit more quickly, so you have to dodge that. You have to be a bit more careful there. And what I actually did was not bother destroying the thing, but just try and run underneath it. And the final Sniper Joe is not too bad either. This is the Crash Bomber boss, and it's a pain in the neck. And just look at how far back I stumbled on getting hit by that. That was insane. I swear to God, and it nearly happened again, but on the original NES version, there's no way it knocks you back that far. It just seems to be insane. But anyway, the gimmick to this, I don't know why I jumped on the damn thing there, is they can only be destroyed, or these things can only be hit with the Crash Bomber. And there are some crash wall, or some of these walls in the way, which can again only be destroyed with the Crash Bomber. So you have to be absolutely perfectly economical with the Crash Bomber here. You only have enough energy to take out the walls which block off some of these the wall enemies, and to destroy them as well as the walls in one go. You can do this boss in 2 bits by destroying all the walls, dying, and then, you know, buggering about refilling your Crash Bomber energy and then going back into the boss, because the walls will then be destroyed and you have a free run. But if you want to do it in one go, then you have to be, only take out certain walls, don't take out them all, or you'll find yourself absolutely stuck. I hate that boss so much, it's a giant pain in the neck. Okay, there's a quick break in recording there so that I wasn't playing the game for too long. But this is stage 5, and it's much more like we'd expect to see a typical Mega Man boss rush, or certainly unlike what was in Mega Man 1 anyway. So, to make things a bit more interesting, and so you're not watching the same boss fights over again, this is where I'll start to use Robot Master weapons. So, first up, top left, we have Heat Man, and he's weak to Bubble Man's weapon, Bubble Lead. And once again, I could be doing this a lot quicker, but I decided that rather than get hit multiple times by perhaps rushing through, I just take him out from a safe distance. Okay, so middle left we have the absolute bastard, the Airman. And he's actually weak to the Woodman's weapon, the Wood Shield, but of course it's very difficult to hit him right at the start. Well, yeah, you kind of have to wait till he bounces across the room before you actually hit him with it anyway. So Given that I was standing in the teleporter and I thought that one hit with the wood shield would have killed him, unfortunately I didn't show that off. I wanted to pick up the weapon, the health energy pellet that he drops, because otherwise, well, I think from where I was standing, I probably would have just stood in the teleporter and not picked it up. But anyway, I've talked, as you pretty much just saw there actually with Woodman. That was Woodman, and he was weak against Atomic Fire, which is Heatman's weapon. And the best strategy is to charge it up. So 2 fully charged up heat shots will take him out, will take Woodman out rather nicely. Bubble Man is weak to the metal blades, so he dies rather nicely. Quick Man, now he's weak to the Time Stopper, which is Flash Man's weapon, but it only destroys about half his health bar. So what I like to do is, at least for the first half, hit Quick Man enough times so that I know that when I activate Time Stopper, it'll take him out completely. So yeah, Mega Buster the first bit. He is actually potentially also weak to the Crash Bombers, but since I used them all in fighting the boss of Stage 4, now I haven't got any left to actually use on him. Now, Crash Man is weak to, hey! That was unexpected, to Airman's air shooter. I can't remember what it's called, air shooter. And that takes him out very rather nicely. What happened there, unfortunately, was that I actually pausing the game, I actually activated what he was going to do. So rather like when I said shooting him activates him and actually gets him to fire a crash bomb, so does pausing the game apparently. So yeah, he jumped when he was way over to the right hand side and hit me. So yeah, I even got to Crash Man. Go figure on that. Those went by a little quickly, so apologies. Metal Man is, for some unknown reason, weak to his own weapon, Metal Blade, as is Flash Man. So yeah, get out the Metal Blade and just pummel the hell out of Flash Man. But yeah, Metal Man dies in 2 hits, at least on difficult mode. Here we are at Wily. This is phase number 1. It's still a bit of a pain when these little arcing shots he shoots over on, or when Wily's positioned himself on the left-hand side of the screen, because the gap is a lot narrower to jump through. But phase 2 is even more of a pain. It is absolutely impossible to avoid these things, so yeah, I'm going to have to break out an energy tank. About the only way to beat this, no damage, is to use crash bombs, and there is a trick where if you position it correctly and blow it up at the right time, it will destroy Wily in one go. That is the only way in which you can possibly beat this guy without taking any damage. It also means the game is theoretically absolutely impossible to perfect run all in one go, because you have to use all your crash bombers to defeat the boss of stage 4, and there's no way of refilling it by the time you get to this stage. So any perfect runs out there would have to get a game over on the boss rush stage just to refill the crash bomb. So why on earth those little arcing shots are absolutely impossible to dodge, I don't know. Why the creators thought that would be a good idea, I have no idea. Yeah. Anyway, this is stage 6. It's the final stage. And to start off, well, there's no music, which is interesting. This little area, frankly, might not as well even be there, but there seems to be what looks like blood. I'm not sure if it is blood, but these kind of areas on top of the ceiling with little red drops hanging down. But if you rush that section and just, you know, walk and jump as quickly as you can to the right, holding down right, then you won't get hit. So that is almost pointless being there. Now I kind of talked a little bit, well, I've talked quite a lot actually, over the introduction of this boss, which apparently sees Wily transforming into an alien. So that's interesting. As you can see here, he has a very simple pattern. He goes in this infinity pattern, where he just kind of hovers around and after such, you know, every so often shoots a pellet shot at you. If you get hit to this boss, then by gum you'll know about it. It takes off an absolute crap load of your health. But frankly, he's got such a ridiculously easy pattern, and the pellet shots, you pretty much know where they're going to go, that there isn't really much to this fight. You see that I'm kind of taking my time here, probably this fight is going to drag on for quite a bit. But he's weak. I say weak, it's the only thing that damages him, to the bubble lead. Anything else that you shoot at him will, provided he's not already at full health, completely refill him. Even the Mega Buster, and even the Time Stopper, Flashman's weapon, which is just plain ridiculous to me. While we're on that note, an interesting side note on some of the boss fights, because the weakness order for the Mega Man 2 robots is slightly peculiar, given particularly that Metal Man is actually weak to his own weapon, in that you hit Heat Man with his own weapon, and that will refill his health. I believe that also works for Crash Bomb as well, if you hit Heat Man with Crash Bombs. Don't quite know why that works. Equally, Bubble Man, if you hit him with a Bubble Lead, that refills him. If you fight Flash Man with Time Stopper, that also refills him. And I think if you hit Wood Man with Leaf Shield, that also refills him. So, yeah, Mega Man 2's boss weaknesses is very, very bizarre. And that brings us nicely to the conclusion of this fight. Destroy the alien, and the illusion is revealed. Wily is simply creating a hologram that you can see moving in this infinity pattern. And yeah, Wily wasn't an alien after all. And after a certain amount of time, the illusion disappears. Wily jumps out of his little capsule or whatever, and typically begs for mercy. Now, I'm not going to talk over the celebratory, solemn Mega Man walk home. So, enjoy this little section. Okay, in case you hadn't twigged, that indeed was a perfect run on the final stage there. Because of course, although I did use Bubble Lead, it's impossible to do that stage without it. So yay, that's stages 3 and 6, 2 of them, on Mega Man 2's 40 stages that I managed to perfect run. Whoop-de-doo. But while the credits are rolling, perhaps it's worth giving my kind of overall impressions on Mega Man 2 as a whole. Now, it's not that I don't like the game, but on my favourite list, this would be pretty low, I have to say. I think only Mega Man's 1, 8 and Mega Man and Bass would be lower on my favourite list than Mega Man 2. This seems to be everyone's favourite, or the majority of people's favourite, and I don't necessarily understand why. I don't know whether it's a nostalgia thing, the fact that it's got some perhaps iconic robot masters such as Quick Man, the Metal Blade, or just the music in Wily Fortress Stage 1 and 2, but to me, there's so much more fun and better games in the classic series than Mega Man 2. In particular, I find the balance in this game just slightly off. I won't talk maybe about the Robot Master stage anymore, but returning to the Fortress stages again, you know, stages 3 and 6 are ridiculously easy. That final boss, perhaps apart from Mega Man 3, has got to be the most underwhelming end to any Mega Man classic game. And yeah, those two stages are ridiculously easy, and stages 4 and 5 are just, or the bosses, some of the bosses in that are just irritating. You know, the Crash Bomber boss, whereby, you know, you could run out of Crash Bomb and have to die and go and farm energy just to, you know, go back and be able to complete the boss. That's just irritating. Irritating on an epic scale. And also the final phase of Wily in the end of stage 5. A boss that you're absolutely bound to get your ass handed to you, because the only real way to damage it is to use Crash Bomb. But of course, through the normal course of the game, if you've done it as ideally you should, you've used it all up in beating the Crash Bomber boss. That really is stupid in my opinion. So yeah, I have issues with this game. It's not that I don't like it, but yeah, I think there's way more fun games out there. Before I conclude this video, I wanted to finish with a couple of other things, much like I did at the end of Mega Man 1. So again, firstly, let's look at the Mega Man 2 Perfect Run scoreboard. I gave Heat a 1, Crash a 2, Metal a 3, Bubble and Flash 4s, Wood an 8, and Air and Quick showing the highest rank, both with 10, because I haven't managed to perfect run their stages, leaving aside my Wily Wars Airman success. This equates to a total score for Mega Man 2 of 42. For comparison purposes, Mega Man 1 as a whole got a score of 29 from me. So, pretty obviously, Mega Man 2 is a lot harder, and that's certainly borne out by the fact that 2 Robot Masters have individual scores of 10. Throw in Woodman as well, and you've got 3 stages I hate trying to perfect run. It's always going to be a disappointing end when there are stages I can't do, because I had deliberately tackled stages in what I believe to be their order of difficulty, and that means any game that I can't complete the set for is going to end with failure. Unfortunately, my patience and tolerance levels just hit a certain point, especially with Airman, that the best thing to do was move on to Mega Man 3. And that's exactly what will be coming up next. I mentioned at the next end of Mega Man 1 that some kind of alternating schedule between Mega Man and I Wanna Be games might end up happening, principally because the time it takes to script out all the Roadmaster stage videos means I need to be motivated to do them, and that doing so after coming home from work doesn't sound all that great. But I've been off work for a little while recently, although I am back at work as at when this video has been uploaded, and during that time I took the opportunity to do some scripting for Mega Man 3 and am in a position to upload those videos. So I figure, why not make that the next project, and hopefully I won't run out of LPable I Wanna Be games by spreading those out a bit more. I think that was all I wanted to update you on. Slightly shorter sign off to this game than Mega Man 1. This time I didn't have to go into detail about the picture in between transition between Let's Play and Perfect Run, or the Wily Wars music playing in the background, or go into so much detail about my script writing process, etc. So, I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough of Mega Man 2. Again, if anything I've demonstrated in this video has helped you with the game, then I'm glad. Or if you've just been along for the ride and have enjoyed them, well, then I'm glad too. As said, the Let's Play Perfect Run of Mega Man 3 will be coming shortly. Hope you'll join me for that, and I can already promise that the first video in the project will be chock full of content. Many thanks for watching. Cheerio.